than we thought we would. And I would certainly, if it's possible, it depends on what Advocate Steinberg tells me of how she sees things. It would be preferable to finish your evidence today, if possible. So I wouldn't mind if you would remain to see how far we get. But in the meantime, you said you wanted to say something, and I said, well, you can say it at 2 o'clock, so if there's anything you want to say. Are you happy to stay this afternoon, though, for a while?
Yes.
Thanks.
Judge, may I remind you to swear the witness in?
Yes. You affirm that the evidence you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. If so say I do.
So help me God. Yeah, thanks so much, Judge. Yeah, I think the issue that I want to address before the commission is the issue that occurred yesterday in relation to how I felt I was treated. I had the benefit of watching most of them, but all the colleagues that came here to give evidence. And I thought the way I was treated yesterday was very different. And I wonder, why was it different? Now, I'll start with the background. So you mentioned yesterday, Judge, correctly so, that I came to your office quite a number of times talking about my appearance. And I think what was not said yesterday was that appearance was me pleading with the commission that I'll prefer to come before the commission and share what I said yesterday. And what I said yesterday was the following: that there has been an established narrative, and I wanted to clear that narrative. And how I wanted to clear the narrative was to say, at the time of the decision taken 4 years ago to prefer charges against the colleagues, these were the processes and these were the facts. And therefore, by so doing, convincing the commission that with the facts that were there, anyone who's the head of labor relations would have taken the same decision. And of course, things changed and other things became different. But at the time of making a decision, those were the facts. Of course, I came to your office 4 times. And after some conversations, I committed that I'm so determined to come here and give evidence, to an extent that I said I'm going to get files. And I must say now that the other observation that I made is that even some of the colleagues were coming here without files. They were saying what they want to say, but they were never exposed to what I was exposed to yesterday. But I thought I'll bring files. And the intention was simple. The intention was to say, these are the files that were before me at the time of making the decisions that I made. You asked me to meet with Advocate Steinberg. I met with her. She asked me, what do I want to present? I told her it's the files that are before her there. She didn't tell me that she wants to present anything. I sent an email, and I said, I want to add 2, 3 things. Do you want to add anything? And there was a response that says, no, we'll add this from the judge. I then I got a document from the document, the document from the advocate about the other documents that I wanted to speak to. I sent another email wanting to know, is there anything that I must prepare or be given in advance? And there was no response. It was only when I came back on Tuesday from the holiday that I found a file, an envelope in my office. Which envelope is this document that is here? With all these documents that are here. I wrote an email and I said, what is this document? And I was informed that this document is what you're going to be asked in the commission by Advocate Steinberg. And I said, I'm seeing legal opinions here that are referred to. Can I be preferred with those legal opinions as part of preparation? I didn't get a response. The following day, I repeated the same thing. I said, please don't forget, I know you are busy, don't forget to send me the legal opinions that you are referring to in this document. What is surprising is that in this document, this file, there were copies of invoices, legal invoices. I didn't know what those legal invoices do. Some of them, one of them is 4 years ago. One of them is 2 years ago. I didn't know what they mean. I didn't know what questions are going to be posted on me on those invoices. But what is even more surprising is that some of the invoices that are here, the acting commissioner of SARS asked me to ask the lawyers what happened there when Mr. Moyane was briefing people. And the lawyers responded and CC'd the commission. So when I saw the invoice, I didn't even know because I thought it was reported. And by the way, the judge responded to that email from the lawyers and said, I'm fine with the response. Now I get to this commission, obviously because I've seen a lot of colleagues coming here. I never felt or sensed some intimidation or hostilities when other colleagues were here. And I must emphasize that they were here talking from oral evidence, and I've never seen hostilities. And I decided that I'm going to come here because there were no hostilities. And I said yesterday that it was not a simple decision to come here. If I don't come here and clear my name, I'll be carrying this baggage of being called a hitman who suspended people. If I come here and speak, I may be hating people. And I must say here, Judge, I didn't say it yesterday, I said it between the two of us.
Well, be careful what you say about between the two of us, because
No, it's official.
I will also say a few things about between us.
No, it's official. It's not. But yesterday you said I said biased. But what I said is that I remember the night, the afternoon when I was given the copy of the Sikhakhane report. The same night there was a break-in in my house. They stole my laptop and that report, and they left money and my tablet. Since that day, my family and myself never had peace. There was a time where I had 3 private security cars that must fetch me, my wife, and my kids. It continued for almost 2 years. SARS came to my office and installed cameras. And those cameras never helped. The criminals continued coming to my house. I was provided security, it never helped. I ended up leaving and buying an expensive house that I would not have bought because I needed an estate where my kids can be safe. It was a situation that every time when there is noise in the yard, my kids have to run under the table, under the bed. And I know that Advocate Sikhakhane called me. Actually, Advocate Sikhakhane started complaining to us that he's under threat. And he wrote us letters. We failed to help him. He told me that he received so much stress that he has to change residence. Advocate Sikhakhane is a senior counsel who investigated. And I'm mentioning this not to seek sympathy. I don't seek sympathy. I'm mentioning this to demonstrate that contrary to the views, the process of 2014 to today was very traumatic. Very, very traumatic for all of us. And that's why the commission for us was an opportunity to speak. Now, the difficulty with what happened yesterday is that I come here and I get interrogated, cross-examined, with serious hostilities, that somebody must prove that I'm wrong. I never thought that is what the commission was meant for. I thought the commission was meant for you come and you share the evidence at the time. You are treated with trust. You are trusted until proven otherwise. But I was treated like a criminal or a murderer in a court who must prove his innocence. And in that treatment, my fundamental rights were violated. And let me tell you what is violated. And unfortunately, there is a big commission that is taking place. And I think that commission helps us to also learn lessons. If Advocate Stenberg wanted to cross-examine me on behalf of Mr. Pillay, because that was what he was doing yesterday, he was cross-examining me on behalf of Mr. Pillay's evidence.
Why do you say that? I've told you before she will examine on my instructions.
Okay.
How can you make that allegation? It's unacceptable that you just make an allegation against Advocate Steinberg of gross impropriety and you simply put it out there. You have heard me say she has been instructed by this commission. She works with the commission and in the interests of the commission, and she is not working for Mr. Pillay at all. Let's be clear about that.
That's fine.
I'm tired of these allegations simply being thrown out of gross impropriety, and I'm getting a bit tired of it. People must be careful what they say, and they must not just insult people.
That's fine. Judge, the point I'm making as I'm closing with my submission is that I should have put my evidence, and somebody must apply to cross-examine me. Because in that cross-examination, I would have had a right. I should have been informed that I'm going to be cross-examined so that I prepare myself for cross-examination, number one. Number two, I would have been a right to a legal representation. Even criminals who are cross-examined, the state provides them with legal representation. And I was not provided with that. I was not even told that I'm going to be cross-examined. I met with Advocate Steenberg, and she never mentioned that I'm going to cross-examine. Now, I'm raising these issues in pain, in deep pain, which pain I've raised before, that I continue to struggle not to come to the painful conclusion that if you come to this commission and you say certain things, you are likely to be treated differently because those certain things are not palatable. And I'm saying with pain on my heart. And the treatment of yesterday confirmed that. I said the following things as I close. I said, I am here to detail what happened as a process, and also I'm here to say what was in this file's evidence. I was never given a chance to say it because of hostile and very unreceptive cross-examination. Now, what did I say? I said, Sikhakhane did an investigation and said there is a unit that is unlawful. Advocate Martin Braisley did the same and preferred charges. Judge Kroon did the same and made an announcement. And on the basis of that, we had no reason but to prefer charges. Now I'm told that why do you think the unit was illegal? Is the three senior respected jurists, including a retired judge, that came to that conclusion. It's not me. I wrote an email to the judge and I said, Judge, if you want more details on this thing, call Advocate Sikhakhane, call Advocate Braisley, all of them. Because I didn't make the call.
Well, let me tell you, I did call Advocate Sikhakhane, and then I was told that it was unlawful for me to do so. But there it is. You can't win here.
Yes. So I'm asked, why do you think the unit is unlawful? I didn't say the unit is unlawful. It's the investigation that we instituted that said the unit is unlawful. I'm asked, did you ask for a legal opinion whether the unit is unlawful? I didn't ask for the legal opinion why the unit is unlawful because three respected jurists came to that conclusion. I don't have the legal competence to say a unit is unlawful. And it's for that reason that we outsource those services to an institution outside. Now let me come to the ambush, trial by ambush. So I come here, I'm expected to respond. I'm asked to remember an opinion that was written 4 years ago. I'm not allowed to look at it. I'm not allowed to read it. It was not sent to me when I asked for it, but I must sit here and respond to it. And when I'm failing to respond to it, the impression is created. I'm called, no, you are selective in your thinking. In the last 4 years, we have ran not less than 400 disputes in SARS, 230 almost of dismissals. And you want me to remember what somebody wrote somewhere else. That is the one. And the explanation that was given by Advocate Steenberg doesn't hold water. She knows. Because if I had the opinion from this document, why would I send 2 emails and ask for them? That is the first thing. The second thing, it doesn't hold because you also had an opinion from Advocate, forgot the name, Trengo. Why didn't you send me the opinion from Envo? You're sitting on the other side, you are having an opinion, you are asking
Are you
questions
talking
about
to Advocate Steinberg or are you talking to
No,
us?
to Advocate Steinberg.
Well, you're not allowed to talk to her. If you want to address the commission, you address the commission.
So there is a document by her side that I'm asked questions to respond to. I haven't been given the document, I have never seen it. And under normal circumstances, that is trial by ambush. You are ambushing me. And when I don't answer, you create an impression that he's forgetting. And you create an excitement in the media. The media says, no, the SARS executive can't remember his own document. Really now? In a democracy today, I get pained when I'm treated unjust. And I can't keep quiet when there is injustice happened to me. And I felt I was treated with injustice. And I want to repeat, Judge, that I came here to tell the commission what is the process that you have followed, what is in that file. The commission can go and decide whether what I've said and whether in that file is correct or is not correct. I did not do the investigation. I was given a file that says Mr. A has committed the following things. My job is to implement the file. I don't have the competence. I can't question a retired judge. I can't question a senior counsel, two senior counsel. I can't. Now, this opinion that was given yesterday, this one, that was said it was written by Advocate Brace. The impression that was given here yesterday was that this document was found in the SARS files. And this morning, Judge said, no, it was not. It is confirmed.
No, you're quite wrong. Which one is that?
The one that Advocate
Oh,
Brace.
that Brassy, yeah.
Yes. So the judge confirmed this morning that it was not found in the SARS files, it was found with Advocate Brace. When I said yesterday, I don't remember seeing that document, I was called names. Today it confirms that I've never received this document. But already out there, I'm an executive who cannot remember his own document in the public domain. I'm an executive who is incompetent. And if that is the aim, that aim has been achieved. But let me tell you about this document. This document doesn't say we must stop disciplining Mr. Pillay. It doesn't say that. That is the impression that was created here yesterday. It's not true. I read this document last night. It's not saying that. It's saying something else. This document was the next opinion of Trengo. The impression that was created here yesterday when I was refused to see the document was that this document says the activities of the unit was not unlawful. It's not entirely correct. I read this document, I got it now at 11:30, I read this document and finished it, and it's not saying that. It's not saying that. And I was put here under pressure to say, that is what the document says. What are you saying? So it's not saying that. Number two, this document was written on the 1st of September. Mr. Pillay resigned on the 6th of May. This document was written on the 1st of September. How am I expected to use a document that came in September to consider it for something that happened before? Because all that happened here was to prove my incompetence. And I reject that I'm incompetent. I'm not incompetent. I do my job with integrity at all times. And I can prove that I do my job with integrity if I'm given the opportunity by the commission to do that. So I wanted to raise this thing, Judge, before we start, and maybe even suggest, if the commission allow, that I rather be given an opportunity to present in October, if the commission allow. Because the treatment that I got has made me realize that I may have to consult with lawyers. Because yesterday, SARS offered me legal advice on Tuesday. I rejected it and I said to them, I don't have to get legal advice because where I'm going, I'm just going to be presenting documents. I think I must be given until October so that I meet again with the commission and I'm told whether I'm going to come here and be treated like all colleagues or I'm going to come here and be interrogated and be exposed as if I'm incompetent. I'm not incompetent. Never. I've grown in this organization I started here as a grade 7, I'm today a group executive. Through hard work and sweat. I'm well learned. I know what I'm doing. So I'll request that I'm given an opportunity in October, to come. I'll have consulted my legal representative. I would have consulted the commission. I'll know whether I'm coming here to present or to be cross-examined, if the commission allows. Thank you so much.
Well, let me just tell you one thing. Nobody comes to this commission simply to make statements. They come here because this is a commission of inquiry. And you are welcome, as you've been told so many times, to come and present your files. But that doesn't mean that this commission will not ask you questions about it. And if the questions don't get answered properly, more questions will be asked. And that will apply to every witness in which we are left with questions. It'll apply to you, it'll apply to everyone else. Because this is an inquiry. And an inquiry is to inquire. And you know, I went to look in the dictionary for the word, what it means to inquire, because it seems that people didn't know what it meant. And it said to ask questions. And that's what we will do. There are many problems at SARS, and we wish to get to the bottom of it. And we will never get to the bottom of it if we just accept everything at face value, although we've got questions. So you're welcome to come back. And when you come back, you are welcome to present what you want to present. But you will not expect that no one will ask you questions if we've got questions. So that's what you can expect from this commission. It's what everyone can expect. And if someone has given evidence here and no questions have been asked, well then, it's because we don't have questions. Nothing strikes us as something to ask. We've had something like 60 witnesses here. And every time I've said, if anyone wants to contradict this witness, come and tell us. Now, I've had a letter or two from after one of the last witnesses. I'll deal with them. We said, I'll contest that. Well, we'll deal with it. I can't deal with everything at the same time. But people will come here to give evidence, and if there are questions to be asked, they will be asked. So that's, if you don't want to come on that basis, then don't come. But it's not a platform for statements and whatever. People want to know what has been going on in SARS, and the President has said, please tell me, and that's what we're trying to do. Let me just tell you about your files. You know, at one discussion we had, I raised with you, because it had come out of the files, this opinion from Brassey, in which he had said, you should only suspend a person if he's interfering with an inquiry, and then you must ask for reasons. I've put that to you. And then you said, no, there were other opinions. So you went off to your attorney, SARS's attorney, it seems, who then sent me a long letter, sent you a long letter, copied to me. Again, it's a rather offensive letter, but I've said so many times to you. How many times have I said it to you? I don't care what people say about me. I really don't care. But there it is. A long letter. He had obviously prepared, I think, 2 files on Mr. Pillay, 2 files on Mr. van Loggerenberg, 1 file on Mr. Richer, I think. And he went through those files and said, this is what we had, and he went through each document, etc. And I read that letter. And I read all the files. So I know exactly what's in the files. And I said, well, Mr. Lebelo has got his files. He wants to come and tell us the evidence that you had, on which you relied. Here you can come. And you're welcome to come at any time again. And you can tell us what is on your file so far as it's relevant. But certainly not going to be an opportunity to simply try these people again, or to make wild allegations against them without some kind of proof and some kind of relevance. So you understand that as well. And I'd said to you yesterday, well, do you really need all your files? Bearing in mind that I accept unreservedly that Advocate Brassey felt on the information he had been given at the time that there was a case to be made. But let me tell you what happens with that. It happens often with advocates. They are told by their clients, here's a whole lot of facts, here's documents, here's witnesses, and they draw claims or whatever the case may be, and it comes to the door of the court, and witnesses won't give evidence. So it changes. So the fact that he had a reason to believe that there was a good case doesn't mean the case would have been proved. But I told you, I accept that there was, at the time the charge sheets were drawn, I accept that there was, in the view of Advocate Brassey and on what he had been told at that time, there was a case to meet. Now, I'm not sure why you want us to go through the files again once I accept that. But that's what you want. We'll see it in due course with the relevance of that. But at the end of the day, this is a big institution, a very important institution. And, you know, I don't know why we're spending so much time on Mr. Pillay, except for this, that I see in your attorney's letter. And by the way, I keep hearing about some narrative. I don't know what this narrative is that I'm supposed to be buying into. I don't know what the narrative is. I don't know. I've never met Mr. Wardan, Mr. Pillay, Mr. van Loggerenberg. First time I encountered them was in this commission. I don't know these people. I don't know what narrative this is and what narrative I'm supposed to be coming to. But it's become clear to me since I've been here that there's more intrigue than tax collecting here. And I'm concerned about that. The importance of what happened then for this commission is that we are asked to inquire into why senior people resigned and whether they were coerced. And that's where it starts, and that's what we'll inquire into. But we're not having another trial about a rogue unit. We want to know why it is they resigned, and your evidence is important for that. But it doesn't mean we're just going to accept everything because it's told us. And if it's in conflict with documents or other evidence, we're going to ask about it. And when I say to you, why is it illegal? It's because I'm trying to work out why. Because I went and read the statutes. You see, I start from scratch. I don't build on what other people have done. I said, let me start from scratch. And I read the statutes, and I couldn't find why it was unlawful. And I thought, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've missed something. So I ask you, Mr. Lebelo, did you have advice from someone so I can see that advice and see if I'm wrong? I asked Mr. Hlengani, can you just explain your judgment to me? Because I can't see in there why it's wrong. Don't get a response. I asked Judge Kroon, phone Judge Kroon, and write to him and say, Judge Kroon, can you please tell me why you said it was unlawful? He says he can't. That's why I ask those questions, because I want to ask the question, was it in fact unlawful? And no one has been able to tell me why it's unlawful, because I asked everyone in case I'm wrong. Because lawyers can be wrong, and I can miss a statute or whatever. That's what I was a bit concerned about. So, you know, all of these allegations that are made all start on the basis that there is some narrative of which I'm unaware that I'm interested in forward. And I can see now why. I was very naive when I came into this commission. Because your attorney said, my reasonable suspicion is based on the ongoing lobbying to bring Mr. Pillay back into SARS. So that, I look, is what's going on here. People are afraid of Mr. Pillay coming back to SARS. And I say, well, I don't care whether Mr. Pillay comes back to SARS or anyone else for that matter. But that's what it's all about. You see, there's this undercurrent all the time of politics. I'm not interested in it. Can we have him back in October? Is that okay?
Yes, but I'd like to say a few things about ambushes and process
Oh, yes,
here.
let me say something about ambushes as well. And that requires me to just go through this letter again, where when I told you that I had found this, this opinion of Mr. Brassey saying you should only suspend him if he's interfering with the investigation, and you must give him a hearing. I said, gave you that. You nearly had a fit. You told me there was another opinion that Brassey had written saying that you must suspend him. I said, well, produce it for me, because I didn't have it. And that's when your attorney wrote this long letter, and he produced that. The problem is what your attorney did not...
It's not my attorney, it was a SARS attorney.
SARS attorney, but we've heard already that you're here to look up to establish your name, not SARS's name. You've told us many times. You want to clear yourself. Now, if it's SARS attorney that is being used for that, that's fine. That's got nothing to do with me.
No, Judge, I have to correct it.
No, you let me finish, then you can correct it. Make a note, will you? So what came is all those boxes of files, and this long letter, and this other opinion, which, by the way, Judge Brassey says he didn't write. He agrees with, in general, with the thing, but it was the attorney who wrote it. But what did not come with that, strangely enough, is the last opinion of Advocate Brassey's, the advice on evidence, saying, I don't think you should go ahead with that. That came to me when I contacted and wrote to Judge Brassey to say, Judge Brassey, was this your opinion, as was alleged? And Judge Brassey, I can't remember the other questions, you've got the letters, I think. And that's where it came from. Now, I ask myself, how is it possible that an opinion given in a case in which you are involved, opinion given by the lawyer to SARS, is not seen by, it's not on your attorney's files, apparently not on your files. The only one who's got it, it seems, is Advocate Brassey. And that's why you're asked about this. How is it possible that advice given to SARS is not in SARS's files and not in its attorney's files? So you can understand her concern. What happened to this document? So these are the things that we're going to discuss, Mr. Lebelo. But seeing you wish to make a long statement, and you did, you're perfectly welcome to do so. But I don't think that Advocate Steinberg should be expected to sit back and say nothing. And I'm not going to allow her to say anything unless she tells me first, because I don't think the Commission should simply sit back and say nothing. Is there anything else you want to raise, that you want me to raise with him, Mr. Ms. Steinberg?
No, I think you've covered it. I'm just thinking about it, but I think you've covered it. I just don't want to be left with the impression that there was an ambush,
No.
that we deliberately withheld documents in order to pounce them on Mr. Lebelo.
Well, I think that's clear. If you just look at what was asked for. An opinion from Advocate Traingrove SC, well, that was asked for, correct, afterwards, but it was asked for by the Commissioner. I would have thought that people within SARS knew about this. A legal opinion internally which agrees with the one at number 1. That comes from the SARS files. I would expect if you had examined the SARS files for the purpose of charging these people, you would have seen it. A legal opinion from Advocate Brassey that we cannot suspend, or something of the sort. Your attorney gave that to me, or SARS's attorney gave it to me. So where's the ambush in this? These documents were given to you in advance to tell you they're going to be asked about. Well, we're not going to argue now, Mr. Lebelo. You're going to come back in October, you're welcome to. We don't have to carry on today. If you want anything else, look in your own files, ask your attorney what's in his files, and ask us if necessary. We don't have original documents, we get them from the files. So, yes.
I must clarify this thing of the narrative.
No, yeah, I don't want to hear the narrative now. I really don't. We've got a lot of work to do with
clarify the
SARS.
issue about the clearing myself, because I don't think it's correct. I said that the information, let me not use the word narrative, is that I patched people. And I said I want to come and show the process I followed. It's a SARS process, but in the process it will clear. In the process it will clear my name. I was not saying I'm not here solely for that. So I don't think that is right. The lawyers that you're referring to, these are lawyers who worked on the files. So if we are looking for a document since you have arrived here, we can't find. We ask them because they've got better thrust. The ambush here is, and I've explained it, and it's not complicated. I asked for every document that I'm going to be cross-examined on. There were 2 that were not given to me. When they were given to me yesterday and this morning, I found that the questions that were asked to me is not even true in those files. That's an ambush. The last part is that you judge called me in your office and say, no, you said there is an opinion that Advocate Brassey said you must not suspend. I said, I was not aware. I know the one that he said you must suspend. You said I must get it for you. I wrote an email to the lawyers and I say, judge says there is this opinion that says Mr. Pillay must not be suspended. I know in my head that there was an opinion that he must be suspended. And then they responded to that. So they were not responding to me, they were not responding on my behalf.
No, they wrote to you with a copy to me.
Yes. So they were responding on their own behalf. All I wanted from them was, is it true that the last opinion we had was that Mr. Pillay didn't get suspended. If it's true, why did we suspend him? And then they sent that other opinion. So it was not about me. But I want to thank you, Judge, for the opportunity to raise the issues that I wanted to raise. And indeed, as you have stated, that I will find the opportunity to come and meet and clarify whatever that I wanted to clarify, so that when I come, we are clear about what I'm going to do and what questions are going to be asked. And all the documents will be with me before I come. But I want to really thank you.
Just let's get it clear, because we had the same with Bain. They want to know in advance all the questions that will be asked. I don't know what questions will
Not
be
questions,
asked.
documents, not
Oh,
questions.
documents, okay. Well, you wanted to say something?
Thanks, Judge. Just in relation to these two opinions, and I think we'll just start off with Bressy, I really would want to hear from you, Mr. Lebelo, in which respect did counsel misrepresent what is set out in that opinion in relation to the questions that were raised yesterday in relation to the Bressy opinion?
Maybe I'll make a request that let me address those issues when I come back, because then we'll get into a debate again. Because to answer that question, I must answer it explaining the story there, and then it brings us back to the debate. Let me give you another example. There is another...
No, I just need, I mean, I thought that you've read that opinion to enable you to come to a view that the questions that were raised yesterday in relation to that opinion
are incorrect.
Misrepresent the actual terms of that opinion, and it is in relation to that misrepresentation that I have an interest in understanding why you say that. It would help if you could point out that counsel said the following, but the opinion actually says something different. I just want to start off just with the press opinion.
And
just
be going into this now.
I want your guidance, because I don't think it will open up the discussion.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, that this council misrepresented. Mr. Koshler's concern, and it is a concern, is that now it will, unless we go into all of this now, it's going to go out that council misrepresented what's in opinions. Well, we will deal with that later. Let me just say at the moment that I don't see it as any misrepresentation at all, but it can be dealt with later. But I just want to be clear that that is Mr. Lebelo's opinion, and we will debate it at another time. Let me just say something. Advocate Steinberg has a very courageous history, more courageous than most people. And she has courage to continue now as well. Okay. We'll see you in October. Can we just break for 5 minutes? Sure. ready. Thank you. Can we get on with the work of the Commission now? Thank you.
Mr. Mathebula, sorry about all the delays. Are you still under oath?